Well, like I always say, why do you need glasses when you have a bottle? Yeah, it's a beautiful sunset. Happy MLK Day, everybody. Yeah, they were out of school today. All the feds, anybody gets fed money was off today. This is a continuation of my last, which I'm finding out. I know how to title things to stay on top of the search engines, so I'm going to continue. And before I explain hardly anything else, I'll drop that. No. Don't get away from me. When I was heading to town today, I heard that Judge Sutherland had finally settled with the woman that he sexually assaulted and sexually harassed, which forced him to leave office about a year or something ago. And I'm sorry, he probably said he signed something, and please, from all the indications for a long time as he come, because you can't do the job of county judge here unless you come from a wealthy family. And, well, I mean, Burleson County. Actually, I'm probably going to make several of these because last night I reviewed the Burleson County. A lot of these people don't even know where the original colony was, any of that sort of stuff. But Judge Sutherland, I saw you going into Walmart when I was coming out. No smile on your face this time. Hey, Mr. Politician. You just paid out a large lump sum to some woman that you really, given the current state of our courthouse and stuff like that, you're not going to get away with, actually, according to published reports, that she alleged in her depositions, etc., that I'm going to use the sun to block that out, that he made her put her leg up on a restaurant that he owns. Like that's the only thing that family probably owns thousands of acres. To the best of my knowledge, at least a couple of huge lumberyard, home decor, kind of like Lowe's, Home Depot kind of places and stuff like that. And she claimed in her deposition that Judge Sutherland had put her foot up on a food preparation table, apparently in the kitchen of that restaurant, and proceeded to have his jolly way with her, and then later forced her to do fellatio. And as a result, she now has a nice check. And he had to leave his job, but he avoided time in prison, which is what the people that are connected to this criminal syndicate, which I'm going to offend my best friend right now because he's Czech. Almost all these people that are part of the local criminal syndicate are the Czechs that keep denying that we Anglos settle this place and stuff like that, and have been running, the Czechs have been running the city of Caldwell forever because they're a real tight-knit bunch, and they vote in a block, etc. And actually, the previous mayor, who we'll get into that some other time, he was famous for extending credit, especially to Czechs in the construction business around here. Even the bad drunks and, whoremongers and stuff like that, like the father of the guy who I mentioned in the last one, raped and murdered his aunt. So, last night when I was going through 7 or 8 years of Burleson County videos, and some of them get a lot of views, but almost nobody comments and stuff like that because they don't want you to know. Boy, we have a bunch of megalomaniacs here that just really have a lot of, have trouble reeling in their megalomania and stuff. I watched this one woman with a Jewish last name who had hired what we call a fifth wheel, a flatbed and stuff like that. and speakers and stuff like that, and had managed to get together some group. Never showed the group, probably was only a dozen of her friends, closest girlfriends, and was giving some lecture in which she put down both Democrats and Republicans. You know, I guess she was going towards more real libertarian or more theocratic. She was obviously heading towards a more, you know, Jesus-centered state, a theocratic state. That's clearly what her message was. I had to stop before it. Couldn't put up with all of it, because she just, if you think I meander and talk bullshit and stuff like that, she was worse. The last video ended, and by now there's a whole bunch of people that know that, yes, I'm the youngest son of William Wayne Kruger Sr., who during the Depression, as the only ever paid fireman in Caldwell, Texas, you know, put out and thwarted many of the plans of the ruling class of Caldwell primarily during the 30s. He did his war service as a fireman in a POW camp in East Texas up around Crockett. My mom always told me those stories. She hated it, the move and stuff, but Dad felt compelled to do his service even though he was past age and so on. But you know, my parents are firsthand witness to the inner circle, the inner Orwellian circle of the county seat, which these local TV stations, they don't even have a clue. They don't have a clue as to the history of Caldwell, the Milam County fraction of all this. They have nothing. They have no. Wait a second. One of the news announcers a male actually pronounced the name Yahweh as Yahweh. Yahweh is Spanish for mayor. Right in that direction is, you know, the three branches of the Yahweh, in which the Spaniards who came up here to, you know, they talked about the French. It's the Spaniards who really couldn't handle this area and stuff like that, because they would come up. There was a dry spell between the Colorado River and here, between, you know, and they would come up these little creeks and stuff like that, which when they're not flooding, sometimes they're only 4, 5, 6, 8 foot wide, but 6 or 8 foot deep. And at the bottom would be like a 14-foot gator, which would snap their Spanish pony, those little tiny Spanish ponies, right on the snout, begin the reptilian roll, throw off the rider, and often the horse survived. There used to be Yankees and other people from the north come down here centuries ago. Some of the first people that even settled, but all you had to do is come down into what is right over there, the Yahweh bottom, or the Yahweh watershed that feeds Lake Somerville. And if you and another guy could lasso up, you know, maybe 100 horses and take them north, 100 horses in the the late 1700s, early 1800s, 100 horses was still 10,000. You could still get $100 for a healthy horse, which it would be by the time you got it back up north, because it had plenty of fresh grazing, plenty of exercise and stuff like that. And, you know, many men got rich off of this watershed right as where the sun is setting right now. I'd show you, but I really don't ever care to give away too much. This won't be my last, because I noticed, because I know how to title. That's how I got Kevin Jodry on my other channel and stuff like that. I know how to title, you know, episodes so that they show up on Google search, you know, real early at the top. And I checked last night, I was real at the top, even though my previous video only had, by then, they were saying 6 views, because I have 6. No, by then had already had 15 views by 50 people, because sometimes they're watching 5 at a time, casting to their, you know, or watching them. Can't con me. You know, I've had a lot of videos that have been replayed, because YouTube only counts the same IPA, IMEI, IMED, just once now. They used to count every stop-start, and they found that channel owners were just doing stop and starts for months to get their videos out there. No, that's the work of Chinese clickbait farms. Especially now that the sun is It's on the horizon. It's actually almost out of my view, but I can tell it's right now. It's just about to touch the horizon. For those of you that don't have any freaking trees, it's getting easier on my eyes. It's nice and cool. I overheat a little bit in town today. Oh, that's a lovely breeze. They said it was going to rain today. They say it's going to rain tomorrow. Weathermen are never right. You know, it only took one semester that included, actually, it took one semester of oceanography, which an integral part is meteorology, and learned it. And actually, my alma mater, A&M, the wealthiest university in America, trains most of the meteorologists you see on TV all the time. That meteorology building was a freak, because the first thing it did was it developed a crack in its foundation. But we were probably some of the first outside the military to have a Doppler radar on top of the building. I'm sorry, I'm getting, my right shoulder's kind of weak right now. I know that all you Caldwellians and Burlesonians and stuff like that, that you think you're top dog because your people have been here for almost 130 years. And you've managed to, through various forms, to acquire, some land and build up a little bit of wealth. You think you're top dog here? You're certainly not top genetic dog, which I'm about to prove. You weren't here first. My people, my family was. I'm sitting right in the middle of the original colony. There's nobody in Burleson County that can tell me, they're so, I've never seen a population of people, and please, we're a bedroom community of Texas A&M University. We've got, out of 17,500 people, we've got probably at least 700 PhDs in this county. But Texas histories, you can't find. I'm probably going to go a full 30 minutes, because lately, especially on holidays like this, I've never had any trouble uploading a 30-minute video lately. I only have it stalled if I do it to both channels. That's what I learned last time. I was uploading the last one to another channel, my primary channel, which has got a shitload of subscribers, of which I've run off about 100 hippies off of there because I don't want them there. Other idiots. Yeah, I prefer these Korean. To the people of Caldwell, before I resume talking about the corruption here that's been here since way back, because if you go and look it up, Steve McQueen debuted starring as my cousin Wild Bill Longley, the outlaw, and it was funded by, that TV show in the 50s was funded by Wells Fargo. He never robbed Wells Fargo. That entire story is pure fiction. So I'm trying to give you some clues that most of you really don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're Johnny-come-latelys. You're a bunch of pumped up, strumped up, just because, especially when the beef market improved, or because you got some farm and prices have been going up for, 10 or 15 years, or just because you've been here for a while and you accumulate a little bit of wealth doesn't mean you know shit. I'm sorry. My good knee is shot. That's actually the day why I had to have a little assistance in going to town. Oh, Lordy. I need to take this God's given pain reliever and an essential human nutrient. Grape alcohol. I do not endorse any other types of alcohols. I'm a very highly accomplished, retired biomedical researcher. And actually, one of the reasons they hate me in Caldwell is because I always talk about the food products in the store and stuff like that. And please, I've already had plenty of time today to talk about those subjects with people that know me very well and know that I'm a good person. I live a quiet, peaceful life out here, although I only found out last night why I heard like this. I told my best friend, dude, it sounded like somebody fired a cannon. Well, just about, 1,200, 1,400 yards away on a neighbor over a neighbor property, their fracking well blew out 11 months ago, killed one guy. And I'm friends with that family. I used to keep their dog when it would run from a historic town over to here and stuff like that, trying to get back. And I'd feed that little dog Black Angus beef until its belly was just full, looked like a basketball. What was its name? I think it was Pearly. And I would call the Wendland girl and tell her, you know, because the number was always on the dog tag and stuff like that. I'd say, Pearly's right here with me. I got her good. Actually, she's sleeping like she's about to bust. And she goes, I'll be there when by the time I get off work. And all I had to do was walk out a little way and go like, look, look, look. And she'd see mommy and then run to mommy's car at the gate. So that dog used to run 15, 16, 17 miles to get back to where it was, to a place it was known. It kept coming back because I know to feed dogs premium Black Angus raw. Dogs don't like cooked meat, they like it raw. I'm going to get one more pull on that bottle. This is going to go 30 minutes whether you like it or not. And I got a feeling you're going to like it. Okay, I think the ground's a little bit soft because I can feel the back of my chair kind of going down. Look, this is a county that had a lot of guys die in World War II. That wasn't necessarily because they were brave, it was just primarily because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They weren't the Rudders Rangers, they were the Burleson County draftees and volunteers and stuff like that. And but I'm sorry. Oh wow, what a beautiful sunset. Let me see if I can flip it over. I'm just going to flip it for a second. Got to not cover the camera. That's gorgeous. Anyway, I'll check on the. Anyway, wow, now it's dark. One of the things that I noticed being a fan of the cinema and being offered actually my first bachelor's by UCLA by the time before my 19th birthday, because I'd watched, thanks to Ralph Williams, who ran all night. I just want to impress upon the reason I go on these tangents. See, one of the measures of true genius, which I'm beginning to lose that ability now, especially after I've taken a little painkiller, one of the identifiers of true genius is the ability to take somebody on a long track, then go on a tangent, and then smoothly bring them back on topic. And been doing that most of my life, but here lately I just don't care. I just get drunk and ramble and stuff because actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to probably stand up and move because I'm having what we call, oh my God, yeah, that's where the left knee is not working too good. I'm having what we call in the Bay Area subsidence. And all I have to do is pick that bitch up. Oh my God, he said bitch. And park it again. Now, here we go. The difference between me, the war veterans here, the people here and stuff like that is, I'm going to, what I didn't do at the beginning of this channel, I'm going to tell you my full name and remind you that none of you punk ass motherfuckers in Burleson County or Caldwell, Texas, are ever going to match the fame of my family or me or our abilities, especially since I was the best of my family. I carry genetics that are just noted, were noted by the time I was 19 and before that. Yeah, a lot of you guys, I'm sorry, you vets, you got injured, you got pulled out, you survived, but I kept playing. My name is Thomas Kent Kruger. I am the son of William Wayne Kruger Sr., who 7 of his 8 children are complete jackasses, mainly thanks to fame, success, money, and amphetamines and steroids and stuff like that. They're all jackasses. I know my father only had one other, my brother Jerry, but my mother had, and my parents never played favorites with their children. Never played. My parents were saintly people, for those of you who actually remember my parents, and damn few do. Most of y'all are a bunch of pumped up suckers. And actually, one of the things I was watching repeatedly kept putting up, like the Burleson County Fair, which we all know is a scam, where wealthy people go to vote on and bribe judges and shit like that, so they can give their child, their grandchildren, usually grandchildren, like they can buy their prize, blue ribbon prize steer for like $500,000, so they can pay their way through college and buy them cars and stuff. That's the way it's done here. It doesn't matter if you have the best steer. It only matters who knows the judges and who buys the steer. It's how it works here. And I've been on the outs for a long time here, because I really just don't tolerate the corruption from the get-go. I am Thomas Kent Kruger. Just call me Kent. This is the original colony of Texas. As I said previously, my parents tried 7 times before they got an exact match to their DNA, which goes back to 70,000 years ago, before humans began evolving. Now I'm going to tell you one of my first of many claims to fame. When I was 16 years old, my brother Charles was already in his about 16, so he was about in his 12th year with the 49ers, had already racked up, my brother Charles had already racked up his first All-American before I was born, which made me famous before I was born. People were awaiting my birth because they didn't expect my mother to get pregnant again. Oh yeah, no, Dad took care of that. I'm sorry. You ain't gonna stop my dad. Let's just say my mother was a traditional woman, and so was my father, just like past generations. I got one great grandfather that outlived a wife, and they put his picture in the museum in Caldwell and stuff like that. We gave him his picture, the Aunt Pet, and the shotgun, his gold watch. He outlived one wife and had 11 with each of them, and I descend from his second wife, who was Jewish. But all you guys in Caldwell, Texas, and Caldwell Hornets, ooh, 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 you're just so, you got the Caldwell Hornets, if you ever actually watched them, like they were on like local television until fair, they probably still are on. They're a bunch of like these 140 to 100, maybe 200, just complete losers with them. The point I'm trying to make is that at age 16, out in Belmont, California, Carmont High School, which is a combination of Hillsboro, Belmont, and San Carlos, some of the oldest mansions in California, and part of the South Peninsula Athletic League. We're technically not part of Silicon Valley. That starts a little south of us, but we're still included in that and stuff like that. But at age 16, my own teammate, which the coach that I was living with, Jack Lewis, because my brother Charlie only brought me out there because he and his wife were at that point, like many, a lot of married couples, after about 5 years together, they got nothing to talk about with it. And especially those childless women. She had a child died of cystic fibrosis, and she was also like a lifelong teacher. Most teachers are pedophiles. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit what you think. Almost every teacher I've ever met that is childless is a pedophile. Now, they're just obsessed with children. They just got to have somebody watching them at dinner and all this kind of... I'll tell you that story later. I've got 5 minutes left. When I was 16, in the game against Palo Alto, one Kurt Anderson, who never apologized, never anything, even though he's probably worth it, because he must have married a fairly wealthy gal, and he did a lot of the design and construction around Google and Facebook and all those other suckers in that area, Mountain View up to the San Francisco area, all those special campuses and stuff like that. He violated every rule of the team and of the Interscholastic League and the state of California. He left his feet. We were doing an off tackle. I was doing an off tackle. I was doing an arm tackle. And he left his feet, swung around, and took out my right knee, which gave me a chance eventually to meet Dr. Lloyd Taylor. I turned down Fred Belling of Stanford. But everybody, and that's one of the things, I'll tell you a whole story about that later, that really turns me off about humans, because you couldn't see it on the black and white film that we had developed overnight, but you could hear it on the videotape in which we were being broadcast around I was being broadcast around the entire Bay Area to 5 million people by the time I was 16 years old. So, yeah, I'm gesturing with my left hand out here. And that's what I want everybody that's watching this video is to remember, is that I'm stronger than you. I'm smarter than you. I've already proven it over and over again. And this is the youngest and strongest of the Kruger brothers, none of which of you, if this county, Burleson County, lasts for another 1,000 years, they will never produce another family that has spent as much time as appears in many periodicals and books, has spent as much time on radio, regional, and national television, etc. You'll never match us. At age 16, I was guaranteed a contract by the Niners because for 6 games, the first week we had a bye. I had the cast cut off from Dr. Mumbles, the loser. He was trying to, anyway. And even a lot of my classmates, because I have what we call hyperthymesia. I remember the events of my life in intricate detail where others forget almost everything except with, I have also eidetic memory, but it's beginning to fade. Although if it's something, a handwriting or other, or if it's a picture, I never forget it. If it's typed, I tend to forget it. Or if it's in a book, I tend to forget it. But for 7 weeks before going to the hospital and surgery, I played 6 games with no ligaments in my right knee. None. Even my old teammates forgot that they saw me. Tens of thousands of people saw me. They would see my leg, even with steel braces, go out 90 degrees to the right, my right knee. Now I'd pop it back into place just like I did that night during the Carlmont versus Palo Alto game, in which Kurt Anderson, that's what got you fired, Jack, is you should have thrown him off the team, and you shouldn't have allowed me to play because you were technically my legal guardian, which made my father cry when he signed the papers. Mom told me later. Jack Lewis, you're a sorry-ass Yankee. You're the typical of the kind of people that are moving into my neighborhood here now and trying to create their own histories, their own glory, built upon a basis, a foundation of my family. You're not going to do it. You assholes, you corrupt assholes. Actually, I just found out, I'm about to quote, just last night, I found out that the Faust woman that got popped for not depositing Little League proceeds into the bank is probably the daughter-in-law, or at least cousin of my neighbor, David. Which is why he was reluctant when I said, hey, Faust, hey, in Walmart 6 or 7 months ago. So, this is not the end of my reportage on the just chronic corruption of this county, which if you live in Burleson County or Caldwell, you think you're special, you're a Trumpian, you go to church out of the 180 churches in this county, you're not special. Everywhere is corrupt. That's what me and Bruno says. Everywhere is corrupt.